To me, this archery scene right here was the most epic of its time. And after 22 years, it's time to make a replica of Legolas's bow. Legolas actually shot different bows in different movies. Today, we will focus in on The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. There's three big things we need to look at. How long should the bow be? How heavy should the draw be? And then what type of material do we need to get the design accurate? After scrubbing through every single archery scene, I found this one near the end of the movie that'll help us determine the length of the bow. So first, we need to pause the clip. I'll bring a line in and measure the length of the bow with that line, and then compare this line to the height of Legolas. And since this line comes up to his ear, there's probably 4 inches above it, making this bow being 5'7", or a 67-inch bow. Next is the draw weight of the bow. Here is where we start to get a little iffy. Check out this clip. You can see by how much the string is oscillating, it's a really light poundage bow. And check out the second clip. That's exactly when I saw it. Here, let me go frame by frame. This is a PVC bow. At least that's what it looks like to me, which makes complete sense for movies. It's a durable material, it's easy to decorate, and it's light poundage for the talent to act with. Today I'll make a wood bow rather than a PVC bow and see if I can decorate it similar to this elvish style bow. Archery in movies need to look cool, it doesn't need to work properly. I'm going to try to build a bow that looks cool and works properly. Lastly, the bow style. Now the movie hardly shows the bow without action. This makes it difficult to know what the bow looks like in depth. But by pausing the movie in as many places as I can, you can tell that it's got a slight recurve with non-bending limb tips. Also, the bow's kind of brown like a log. And then near the handle, it has this cool wood-looking material. So today we're gonna duplicate the look, but we're not gonna duplicate the functionality, because we're going to use a different kind of material to make it a more powerful bow. With that, I also want it to look cool like the movie. So I'll probably paint the bow, maybe even adding some material and character to make it look like this wood rustic design.
43. He was already dead.
If you'd like to go watch the movie right now, you can. But for the rest of us, we first need to select material. Today I'm going to use bamboo and hickory. These are two super solid types of material that will work great in this bow. And I'm using 4 thin pieces because a thin piece can bend, but a thick piece can't. So by bending these 4 pieces while I'm gluing them together, I can shape this bow like the one in the movie. The beginning of a good bow starts with a form. A form is what we're going to use to create the shape of the bow. The bow is only as good as the form. To laminate these pieces together, I will use EA40. It's a 2-part epoxy that is fantastic for making bows. we can do here. Think we can cut all this off, guys? I think that's what we need to do. Now I could finish the bow out just like this, but I'm gonna add more material so we can get the look that we get in the movie. So let's add some more bamboo, 4 or 5 pieces to either side of the handle. We'll be able to round this to give it that log-like, natural, rustic shape that it is in the movie. It can be difficult to make something that looks cool and that is functional. So my strategy is to go look at the movie clips and then go back to bow building and then look at the movie clips back to bow building and continue that process so that I can have a picture of what I'm actually building. I will have to compromise a little bit to make this bow functional, because if I made the bow as round and as thick as the movie, it would be a 100+ pound bow with the type of material I'm using. With that, I still think we can make this look really, really good. So let's shape the bow now. When building a bow, there's this term called tillering. This is the process of actually getting the bow to bend properly so it doesn't break and so that it shoots great. It's the part of bow making that's the most nerve-wracking. This is what makes the bow. Now that the tillering's done, it's time to add a little bit of character to this bow. We've got the recurved tips that aren't bending. We've got the handle that's not bending, but has all this extra material. It's time to carve it. And I'm gonna use this Dremel tool to try to create a bark-like character to this bow. Now, if I do this on the part of the limb that's actually bending, it's going to change the functionality of the bow, which we don't want to do. So I'm going to do this to the parts of the bow that aren't bending. Now it's time to paint it. I'm going to paint this bow with many different layers so that I can scratch and sand off individual different layers after all the paint's on to get different character. So let's start with black, and then we'll go to gray, and then we'll go to white. So if I scratch a little bit off, I'll be in gray. If I scratch a little more off, I'll be in the black. That way there can be a little bit of depth to this bow. And even after I paint the white on, I think I'm going to use an acrylic paint to mix different colors together, maybe add a little bit of brown and green in there. The bow in the movie changes colors based on the color grading of the movie. So in some scenes it kind of looks green, whereas in other scenes it looks pure white. And that's because of the color grading of the mood of the actual scene. So I'm not sure what the real life actual bow is like, but I'll just make a version that'll fit in one of the scenes.
Other side. Boom, bullseye. What a shot.
Mission accomplished. I think it turned out pretty good. It was hard to get it to look exactly how I wanted it to look, but overall, not too bad for a replica. Plus, it shoots fantastic. Thank you a ton for watching today. It's been a pleasure to make this video. If you want to see more like it, stick around, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay shatterproof, my friends.